The inkjet printer is one of the most popular computer peripherals, but you know what? It's also one of the most overlooked when it becomes, well, to getting a little cleaning, a little TLC. Now, here to help us change that with some tips on troubleshooting your inkjet printer and keeping it clean, Mike Nadelman, president of Advanced Computer Solutions.
Hi, Pat. How are you?
I always get that last word wrong. Advanced Computer
Solutions.
Okay.
Yes.
You know what? We're going to talk about how to get all this ink off of this printer in a couple minutes. Do you want to show us the basic parts inside an inkjet printer?
Yeah, now this is a plotter, but it basically has the same parts as an inkjet.
Okay.
It's got a carriage, which carries the ink cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
It's also got, in this case, it's called the spittoon.
Okay.
And that's where the ink is squirted
Hold that
down.
right there. Let's see if we can get a shot of that.
Squirted down in there, and what it does is it detects whether or not there's ink in the cartridge.
Okay.
It also helps bleed the cartridge a little bit. And then there's a wiper to clean the cartridge. And then there's cartridge caps, and those keep the cartridges from getting dried out.
So if I hit the cleaning button on my printer, basically it spits ink into the spittoon and then wipes itself off on the wiper.
Yeah, now in a printer like this Canon, it squirts the ink into a foam pad like this and is absorbed there.
Okay. So basically, so inside of your printer, there's probably, everybody's home inkjet printer is a pad like this. So
yes.
Rather than the spittoon like that's on that big
right.
plotter.
Of course, in this case, the spittoon can get full.
Okay.
Doesn't often, but it will get full.
Well, can I ever fill up this pad in an inkjet printer?
You can seldom, and with this kind of a pad, yeah, this pad will fill up.
Okay.
And in Epson, it has quite a bit of ways to go before it'll fill. Basically, in this kind of a printer, instead of a spittoon mechanism, there's a cap, and there's a purge unit. This whole assembly is called the purge unit. What happens is it'll move the cartridge over, then move the cartridge to this purging element, and the ink will be sucked out through this tubing into the pad.
Into that pad. So what happens if we actually want to, if we have an inkjet at home? Well, I'll tell you what. Where should we start? Should we start by cleaning the ink off the outside of this printer?
Yeah.
Okay. What do we use to do that?
We have some ink dissolver. And I don't know where we got this, Arby's ink supply. So
what is ink dissolver?
Ink dissolver, it won't dissolve plastic, but it will take off the ink off of plastics without harming the plastic.
Okay. Is there any household cleaners we might use instead of that?
You can try Simple Green, you can try 409. In this case, it's not coming off.
Well, some of it's coming
off. So we'll
off.
have to send the bill to Roger over there. I think he tried to refill his cartridge, but
it exploded?
It exploded. Sometimes, in the old days, this particular type of cartridge, we could, when they had the hole on top, and I guess it was a dead giveaway, you could blow on it and force the ink out through the head.
So you actually blow that and the ink would come out the other end?
Yeah.
Is that a recommended cleaning style?
Well, of course, you want to stand away from anything that's going to get ink all over.
So you actually told me before the show, if you shut off an inkjet printer, instead of using the power button, if you yank the cord out of it, the inkjet heads can stop in the middle of the page.
In this case here, I've unplugged it, and it stopped right in the middle.
So what happens then?
What happens is the heads will dry out, and then you have to replace those.
Okay. Is there any way we can try to clean the extra ink off those heads? Or?
You can clean them with alcohol and a rag, but as you can see, this stuff is real. It sticks quite a bit.
Yes, it does.
And if you get the ink in a position where it's on the contacts, and we have metal contacts here, and the same contacts are on the other side of the printer, on the carriage holder. That will destroy the carriage holder, and in case of a plotter, it's a $700 or $800 call.
Okay, so how do we prevent the ink from leaking out? Like, because people pull out, a lot of times there's photo ink versus regular ink versus a black cartridge. People pull cartridges in and out. What do you recommend people do?
It depends on the printer. Certain printers have a little cartridge of ink that sits on top of the head, and unless you use the manufacturer's original cartridge, if the refining of that, the reason they sell them cheap is because they manufacture them not quite into spec, and you'll get ink leaking.
Okay.
And we had a big problem with the original Canons that came out because they linked ink all over that carriage, and each time we'd have to replace not only just the carriage but the purge unit and everything else, and it was major.
So these days, that could end up be cheaper to actually buy a new printer than to try to salvage the old one.
Yeah, I was surprised yesterday's newspaper. I saw a 1200 by 1200 inkjet printer for $35.
Wow. So you actually said one last thing. Actually, you guys don't really like these storage units.
No, if you're going to take out the ink, and sometimes you have a photo grade cartridge and you have a regular color cartridge, and so you want to take one out, what you do is just take a piece of tape and tape the head.
That's regular Scotch tape?
Regular Scotch tape. Of course, you don't want to tape the contacts, the electrical contacts, which in this case are right here, but you would tape the head up. And you could put it in there, you could put it in a Ziploc bag. Sometimes I take a Ziploc bag, put some tissue in there and put some alcohol on the tissue, and that'll keep the humidity level in the bag a little higher.
And help keep it from drying out.
Help keep it from drying out, yeah.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, we actually, you know what, before we run out of ink, before we're finished, don't fret. Just click on over to thescreensavers.com. You're going to find Mike's write-up on everything we discussed today in a little more detail. Mike, thank you again for coming on by.
Pat.
We appreciate it. Folks, stay where you are. Still to come with this very show, we'll check out 2 new high-capacity hard drives and see how loud they really are. Plus, Megan discovered a nifty browsing tool for your Palm Pilot, and learn when you should upgrade your RAM. All that and more as the Screensavers rolls on.